Midnight, January 11th, 1999, I arrived in Taiwan.
Is it true that you gave up your Canadian citizenship to become a Taiwanese citizen?
Yep, I love Taiwan.
Yeah.
I've had Taiwanese, complaining about Taiwan or whatever.
Yeah.
I've lived all over the world. There's only one place I want to be right now, and that's here. If you don't like it, get out of my country. I can't go to China, but that's not because of my Taiwan passport. It's because
Cole Fogel here, and today I have someone very special.
And May.
And May, the most...
She's special too.
She's gorgeous. She's gorgeous.
Yeah.
What's your name, sir?
我中文名字 is 罗约翰.
Johan. That's a great name.
Yeah, John Lamori, or just John.
Tell me the exact date of your arrival in Taiwan, and also specifically what brought you to Taiwan.
Midnight, January 11th, 1999, I arrived in Taiwan. I cleared customs at midnight.
In the Taoyuan airport?
In Taoyuan airport. And I had been living in New Zealand for many years, like 25. It's funny. People say, why did you come to Taiwan? I said, well, actually, I tried for a year to go to Japan.
Oh.
Before I came here, and when I was working in New Zealand, I was a computer teacher. And I can tell you right now, computers are boring. After 12 years of teaching computers, drive you nuts. So I was a bit sick of that.
Yeah.
And I always liked the idea of, going to Japan. So I went and got a professional photograph and some video and stuff and sent them away to Japan. And after a year of beautiful rejection letters, and to help me prepare for this, I actually was a volunteer ESL teacher for the government. And so they would give us a family, and I had a family from Cambodia, one from Vietnam, and I had family from Taiwan.
Oh, cool. So how old were you at this point?
45-ish, sort of.
Around my age.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Better looking, but
right, course,
45. Yeah. And so the day I got that on the email, the message, I was, going to assign to this family in Tainan, from Tainan. So I went in the door, and Tony from Tainan, as I walked in, he said, "John, you don't look too happy." I said, "No, I'm bloody pissed off." He said, "Why? What's the matter?" So then I did a little backstory about applying for.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, I guess I'll have to go to China or Korea. And I really don't want to go to either of those places. And Tony said, well, why don't you go to Taiwan?
Yeah.
They'll love you. Taiwan. He said, yeah. I didn't even think of it.
Yeah,
he said, yeah, they would love you. Yeah, you get a job, no problem. And so I felt really good. So I sent off like 20-something inquiries. Right. The next morning, sit down for my coffee, turn the computer on, you have 40 emails.
Oh, that's great.
Wow, this is really great. That afternoon, I get a phone call from Taipei. When can you start? Look, I'm just looking at the stuff. Can you give me a day or two? So yeah, and the next thing, boom, January 11th, here I am.
So, sorry, your first job that you accepted was where? Was in
Graham English.
I mean, what part of Taiwan?
Well, it's funny. I went to Taipei, and they had to do all the paperwork and stuff.
Yeah.
So a couple days later, I ended up doing some teaching videos for them. So I ended up spending there 11 days in Taipei. Was there 11 days, saw the sunshine for 1 hour.
It rains a lot.
No sun. Didn't rain that much, but just no sun.
No sun, yeah.
And my first job was in Hue.
Okay.
In Yunlin. And
Yunlin,
I went down there, 6-7 weeks, no rain. Sunny every day.
Beautiful.
My plan was to become fluent in Mandarin. I had like a couple of the best computer programs for learning Mandarin. But I got 3/4 of the way through Bupamufu. When I get near the end, the sh,
I know exactly.
And I never got it.
It's so hard.
And then you chuck in the tones.
I've had my wife go over those kind of sounds. I still have trouble with them. Where did you grow up originally?
Well, it's funny. People often ask me, because many Taiwanese have taken their kids and what have you and lived in Toronto or Vancouver. So they know Canada.
Yeah.
And they said, well, where did you live in Canada? I said, everywhere. They said, what do you mean? My father was in the military. So I was born on the east coast of Canada. And he was in the Navy. But he did 30 years in the Navy, but he never went to sea.
Oh, I was picturing him on the ocean.
No. He was one of the guys sat in a little room with headphones on listening to the Russians. So I was born in New Brunswick.
Okay.
When I was 2 years old, we moved to British Columbia.
Okay.
4 years old, we moved to Ottawa. 8 years old, Aklavik, Northwest Territories.
Wow.
Almost 10 from Nova Scotia back to New Brunswick. Then to Ottawa. Then Churchill. Then to University of Winnipeg. And then I hitchhiked across to Vancouver. And then the summer of 69.
It was the summer of 69.
Exactement.
Bryan Adams right there.
Yep. And I followed this young lady down to the States.
Where in the States?
In Oregon. And then from there, New Zealand, Australia, New Zealand, Australia, around Africa to Europe, New Zealand.
Wow.
And then the islands, and then end up here.
So if you could say, what is your one home away from home, like Taiwan is your home, would New Zealand be your second home in your mind, in your heart?
To me, my home is where my hat is.
Where your hat is. I like that. But if someone said you need to leave Taiwan, where would the first place be that you would go?
Underground.
So when you arrived in Taiwan, do you remember what day one looked like to you? Like what was going through your mind?
I arrived in Taiwan middle of winter, having left New Zealand in the middle of summer. All I remember was, geez, it was cold.
Wow. Okay.
You know, and I didn't have other extra clothes to put on. So first thing I did next day was I bought a jacket. I knew I was going to love Taiwan. A jacket I wore for like 15 years, Ipai Kwai.
Wow.
Hop on the train, hop in the MRT. Never been in a subway before and everything in Mandarin. I'm going, this is going to be challenging.
Is it true that you gave up your Canadian citizenship to become a Taiwanese citizen?
Yep.
What inspired that? What brought that on? Why did you feel compelled to give up something that is so important to so many people?
As a foreigner, even though I was an APRC, permanent resident, what have you, there's still many restrictions on what you can and can't do.
Such as?
And well, for one is political.
Yeah.
I'm very politically active. I've been involved in politics since I was early 20s. Canada, New Zealand, and the U.S., and here since I've been here. If I was riding down the road on my motorcycle as a foreigner, and I had a couple flags with Chen Shui Bian and Annette Lu on them, and like he was the presidential candidate number 5 in the election in 1999. So I made up a red circle and a red number 5 and put that on the back of my motorcycle. Technically, they could arrest me and kick me out of the country.
As a foreigner.
As a foreigner.
Interesting.
So politically, you've got no say. You can't do anything.
Yeah, you have no rights, obviously.
You know? Another thing, you can't own rural land. I mean, you can own a business, you can buy residential or commercial property, but you can't buy farmland.
So if you wanted farmland, it would have to be in your wife's name.
Exactly. And I mean, there are a few other benefits. Once you're over 65, a citizen can get discounts like on the high-speed rail. Over 65, you get 50% off, all that kind of stuff.
But only if you have citizenship.
Only if you have citizenship. There's quite a few things like that. So that's why I became Taiwanese.
To give up Canada.
No, to give up.
What's your feeling? Like?
Well, I left when I was 18.
Right.
And growing up where I did in Canada,
Yeah.
I was never a Canadian typical.
Right.
I mean, the most Canadians I saw were the, Eskimos and Indians I went to school with. And they were in the majority, and they were treated like shit. So when it came to giving up Canadian citizenship, I never thought of myself as 100% Canadian.
You didn't have a strong Canadian identity.
Taiwanese person goes to Canada,
Yeah.
and they live there for so many years. They come back, and they think Canadian identity is this.
Yeah.
I was not there. I would
Yeah.
be over here somewhere. Also, if you have to deal with Canadian bureaucracy, they are the most ignorant
Yeah.
people. I'm going to say, I won't say
I
bad
mean, like
words.
immigration and things like that. And
Immigration, customs,
yeah.
the whole 9 yards,
pretty
tax
awful.
bureau.
Yeah.
They are the worst. In my experience, I've been to more than 45 countries. They're the worst effing country in the world. They are.
Okay, so it was an easy citizenship to
Easy.
give up.
Well, it was easy idea to give it up.
Yeah.
I went through 9 months of hell. I ended up having to get my brother. So he showed up at the Canada Immigration, whatever department it was, in Ottawa, in his captain's uniform with all his Afghan medals and all that kind of stuff, and asked them politely to get them to finally sign the papers so I could renounce my citizenship.
Canadian.
If he hadn't done that, I'd probably still be fighting it. I
So
don't
it was
know.
a celebration when you were finally able to.
Yes!
So Ni Ai Taiwan.
Well, people often say, "Hey, do you like Taiwan?" And I
right,
say,
yeah.
"No." They say, well, you've been here 25 years. Why you don't like Taiwan?
Yeah.
I said, I love Taiwan.
Yeah.
I've had Taiwanese, complaining about Taiwan or whatever.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, what are you doing about it? Well, there's nothing I can do about it. Hey, if you don't like it, piss off. Get out of my country. Oh, you can't say that. I've lived all over the world.
decided to
There's
do
only one place I want to be right now, and that's here. If you don't like it, get out of my country.
What are a few points that make you love here? Because obviously that was to become a citizen of Taiwan was a big decision.
Well, actually,
What
to
about
me,
it?
the inevitable is not a big decision.
Yeah.
Like, you got married.
Yeah.
Was that a big decision?
Not really, actually.
Why?
For me, it just felt right to me.
You got it
Yeah.
in 10. It
Yeah.
just felt right.
Yeah.
For me, it feels right. It is right.
But what is it about here that makes you love here?
Like all my life, I think I mentioned before, I've lived as an outsider.
A lot of places.
When I lived growing up, the whites were in the minority. I've always been
A minority.
an outsider.
Yeah.
Went to New Zealand, lived there for 25 years, but I was still a Canadian. I was a foreigner. I was a stranger.
In New Zealand, yeah.
And it took me until I was 45, get here, but a stranger and a foreigner is okay. I got Taiwan citizenship, but I'm hairier than most Taiwanese. My pronunciation's terrible. My skin color, everything is, I'll never be
Yeah, sorry.
Taiwanese. It took me this long to realize, hey, being different is okay.
Yeah, of course.
Being here, it's accepted. It's like a positive thing. If you want harsh for immigrants,
Yeah.
50 years ago, you live in Australia.
Rough?
Oh, hey, we could do a whole podcast just on that. To me, no brainer. People say, oh, it's very hot here. Yes, no snow. Yes.
Yes, no snow. I agree with you.
2 of my aunts came here. I said, don't come in the summer. It's too hot.
Yeah.
Guess when they come?
The summer.
The July and August.
Oh, they must have been dying.
And they spent, 2 weeks hiding in
air
the
conditioning,
bedroom with the AC going. And I'm up on the roof welding. And they say, John, how can you do it?
Yeah.
I said, I need to weld. Do I have to wait? I remember when I first came here, the first summer, I was riding around my scooter. I told you every weekend I'd go away.
Yeah.
And I've been riding my scooter in the summer, and we get one of those torrential downpours. Yeah. And all I wore is a t-shirt and the shorts. And it'd be just pissing down. I'm going, oh, God, it's so cool. It feels so good. Pull up to a traffic light. People roll down the window and throwing me raincoats. I said, no, I'm okay. Here. I go, no, guys, I'm okay. So, hey, what's not to love here? And to me, I don't see any negatives. I only see positives. I can't go to China, but that's not because of my Taiwan passport. It's because I have some issue. I have some issues with that. I'm a little bit vocal about my thoughts.
Politics,
yeah.
In your life, and it sounds like you've had a very colorful life, do you have anything that inspires you?
2 books. One, the first book was Of Human Bondage by W. Somerset Maugham.
Okay.
And I read that when I was in high school. I was brought up a Catholic. I was an altar boy, heavy-duty religion and all that kind of stuff. Read that book, shit-canned bloody religion for life after reading that.
Okay.
Then the second thing, one of my other passions is flying. Whether it's I'm flying kites, hot air balloons, one of my planes, skydiving, anything to do with flight, I've done it. In some ways, for me, it's spiritual. I meditate every day.
You do meditate?
Yeah,
every
I've
day.
been meditating for years.
What style of meditation? Is it just silence?
No, I actually did trained in transcendental meditation.
Ah, that's where you
TM,
where you have like a word that you
A
say
mantra,
over a mantra.
yeah. Sort of, but it's a very simple way of doing it. Because I'm into flying, there's a writer by the name of Richard Bach, and he's a flying guy. And one of the books he writes is the title is called Illusions, and in that the greatest takeaway that I got from it is name your limitations, and they're yours.
Ooh, I like that.
And you say, "Oh, I can't do this."
Yes, yeah. Oh,
Guess what?
I'm gonna make sure
You can't.
I'm gonna make sure my son hears these words that you're speaking because I
Get
say
him?
yes.
Get the book.
A meditator, a carpenter, a glass artist.
Don't forget the boom, 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 boom.
A stripper.
Ah,
You've been a stripper
yeah.
in Taiwan.
No, in New Zealand.
Stay tuned for our walkabout of the farm. It's been a pleasure so far,
Yeah.
chatting with you.
And like I said, if you want to do some DIY, I can take you back to your grandfather and you do stained
stay
glass.
tuned for a stained glass DIY. But I hope you have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening wherever you are.
Whatever time it is.
Yeah, whatever time it is, time is an illusion.
Yeah.
anyways.
This has been interesting, fun. I'm glad to educate my young ex-compatriot.
Well, I'll catch you in the next one. You'll catch him in the next one as well.
Yeah, okay then.
Goodbye, neighbor.
Like I said before, one of my nicknames was MacGyver.
Right.
Worked in steel, glass, concrete, wood, now paper. I can build,
Amazing.
make anything. 5th generation carpenter.
Wow.
Some of my tools are
Yeah.
more than 100 years old. They're my grandfather's tools. Taiwan, the world's first paper schoolhouse was built there.